So I thought, why don't we go through and have a look at the list? We did this video last year, so I'm going to do it again here. If you don't know what the next gen list is, essentially GOAL, like a football website platform company. I don't necessarily know what their official term is, but each year they've done it for the last 10 years, I believe now. This is the 10th edition. Every year they list the 50 best Wonderkids for that year, and I believe it's under 19 is the criteria. And they're pretty bang on, to be honest. I was looking through some of the older ones, and I mean, they listed people in those older ones when they were, not too prominent and not too big. People like Vinicius, Haaland, Ousmane Dembele, Bellingham, Wirtz, obviously Mbappe, Donnarumma. All of these guys, Saka, have featured in next gen lists before, so they do kind of know what they're talking about here. And yeah, I thought it'd be interesting. We're going to go through the 50 to 1. I'm pretty much just going to read through the article for you, just because I don't really know too much about them, the players as well. And every now and then, I'll get some thoughts and opinions on some of the players, but make sure I'll put a link to the article in the description. Go check it out yourself. And yeah, hopefully we can just sit back, relax, and learn about some of football's biggest stars in the future. The future of football, these 50 names are potentially going to be, and we'll see who they have as the number one next gen player. But without further ado, let's begin. So, in 50th spot, we have Chido Obi, Manchester United. Man United's record when it comes to signing strikers in the post-Sir Alex era isn't exactly anything to write home about. But there is hope that the capture of Chido Obi will go down as a piece of business that went a long way towards turning the Red Devils around. The Danish youth international made headlines last year when he went on a tear for Arsenal's under-18s, scoring 32 goals in just 18 matches, despite his opponents being many years older than him. United were subsequently able to tempt Obi away from North London, and despite him being just 17, there is a growing feeling that the teenager will be given more first-team opportunities before this season is out to prove why Man United went and signed him. I will say, Obi Martin, he's had sort of brief cameo minutes, and I think it's definitely justified on this list because he looks pretty promising, still very raw, but for a 17-year-old, he looks pretty solid. 49, Gilberto Mora, Club Tijuana. After an underwhelming half-decade, Mexico is desperate for some new blood to emerge, ahead of them hosting the 2026 World Cup. Fortunately, in Gilberto Mora, there is hope that Mexico has found its new poster boy after a record-breaking start to the attacking mid's career. At just 16, he has already become the youngest player to score in the Mexican League, while he has also played his first game for the senior Mexico side. Barcelona and Manchester City are among the clubs to have been linked with moves for Mora, and interest in him is only going to grow as he continues to develop. Number 48, Diego Cocken, Barcelona. The US has a rich history when it comes to developing youngsters in recent years, and Diego Cocken looks poised to become the next American shot stopper, capable of plying their trade at the very top of the game, after earning plenty of admirers at Barcelona. The 18-year-old has become a fixture in the Barca matchday squad over the course of this season and expected to make the step up to become Barca's backup keeper in the not too distant future. Cocken has also earned recognition from national team boss Pochettino after receiving his first call-up to the senior side at just 18 years old. By the way as well, a lot of these guys, because I've never really heard of them, I'm going to butcher their pronunciation, so apologies for that. I have no idea if I pronounced that guy's name right. Number 47, Amara Diouf, Generation Foot. Playing competitive international football at the age of just 15 is an honour bestowed on very few players. But that is exactly what Amara Diouf has accomplished when he made his debut for Senegal in an AFCON qualifier. That appearance came shortly after he had broken Victor Osimhen's record for the most goals scored at the under-17 AFCON. And now 16 years old, he is expected to become one of the next superstars to emerge from Africa. Diouf has seen his development stall somewhat over the past 6 months after he suffered a serious knee injury for Generation Foot, a club in his homeland in Senegal, though that has not stopped him from being linked with some big clubs. However, it does seem he will most likely follow the footsteps of another Generation Foot talent, Sadio Mane, as he will likely join Metz once he turns 18 in the summer of 2026. Senegal will be hoping he can emulate Mane's career. Number 46, Lewis Gilham, West Ham. For much of his youth career, Lewis Gilham was forced to play second fiddle to Endrick in the Palmeiras side, though the pair certainly benefited from each other as they formed a formidable attacking duo to win Palmeiras the league title. And so, while Endrick moved to Real Madrid in the summer of 2024, Gilham headed for the Premier League, joining West Ham for £25 million. Unfortunately for the 19-year-old, he has struggled to force his way into contention and could even be sold in the summer. However, there is no doubting Gilham's talent and raw traits, which still making an exciting prospect for the future. I was a little bit surprised to see him on this list, given he really has not done anything in a West Ham shirt. But that being said, I don't think he's really been given many opportunities. I don't really remember him starting too many games for West Ham this season, so I'm sure he's still a great talent, as he must be. He's on this list, but I hope he gets some actual minutes soon. Number 45, Andrija, I think that's how you say his name, Maksimovic, Red Star Belgrade. Dubbed the Serbian Messi during his time coming through at Red Star, Maksimovic certainly doesn't lack confidence, as illustrated by his claim that he is better than Lamine Yamal, which he said before the Serbian side played Barca in the Champions League this season. While that might be wishful thinking, 17-year-old Maksimovic is certainly clearing every hurdle right now, having become a regular in the Red Star team and the youngest player ever to represent Serbia. The attacking midfielder's performances have attracted interest from the likes of Liverpool, who even reportedly made a bid for him in January. Number 44, Seni Meilu, Paris Saint-Germain. Paris Saint-Germain's switch of focus from signing global superstars to being the home of France's best talents can only be good news for academy talents, and Seni Meilu is one of those reaping the benefits. A box-to-box midfielder, the 18-year-old has earned regular minutes since making his Ligue 1 debut earlier in 2024, with Luis Enrique making it clear he trusts Meilu, after the Spaniard played a key role in the youngster signed professional contract at PSG last summer. Number 43, Yang Min-hyuk, Tottenham Hotspur. Tottenham's association with South Korea is no secret, given the legendary status of Son Heung-min in North London, and there is now hope that one of his compatriots will follow in his footsteps after Spurs secured the signing of attacker Yang Min-hyuk back in July. The Premier League side allowed Yang to complete the 2024 season in Korea, where he scored 12 goals and provided 6 assists before he arrived in England in December. The 18-year-old has since been out on loan to Championship side QPR, where he is gaining valuable experience in English football. Number 42, Rio Ngoma, Liverpool. Absolutely butchered that kid's name. The rivalry between Liverpool and Chelsea isn't what it was in the mid-2000s, but certainly there will be ill feeling out of Stamford Bridge if Rio, I'm just going to call him Rio now, goes on to become an Anfield star after the Reds stole the forward away from the Blues in the summer of 2024. Regarded as one of the top prospects in English football, the 16-year-old has wasted little time in making an impact on Merseyside, and his impressive performances for the youth teams led to him becoming the youngest player to ever start a first-team game for Liverpool. He continues to train with Slot's senior squad, and further opportunities shouldn't be too far away. I will say, I remember when Liverpool did get him off us, there was a lot of talk about it. Personally, I couldn't care less because we've signed like 50 billion 16-year-olds, but it would be kind of Chelsea-esque that we sign all these 16, 17-year-olds. None of them work out, and then the one that does work out is the one we let go of to Liverpool. To be fair, it's probably a good move for him as well, because you don't want to stick around at Chelsea. Anyways, 41, Martin Fernandes, FC Porto. Porto have been productive when it comes to developing stars of the future, and Martin Fernandes is the latest homegrown talent to become a first-team regular. An attack-minded right-back who was able to produce wicked crosses with regularity, the 19-year-old, after stepping up to the senior squad towards the end of last season, has been a regular at right-back for Porto, and since has attracted interest from the likes of Liverpool, Arsenal and Chelsea. Number 40, Vasil Adzik, Juventus. Thiago Motta's revolution at Juventus has not quite gone to plan, but Motta has pleased supporters with his willingness to trust in youth and oversee a changing of the guard. One of the most exciting players to have benefited from that is Vasil Adzik, who despite some injury issues is getting tongues wagging in Turin. A veteran of almost 70 senior appearances for his native club in Montenegro, the 18-year-old arrived in Italy in July amid comparisons to Kevin De Bruyne. While his opportunities in Serie A have been fleeting so far, there is no doubt that Adzik has the talent to become a regular in the Juve side for years to come. Number 39, Augustin Roberto, River Plate. The stock of River Plate's academy has arguably never been higher, with the Argentine Giants on something of a golden generation when it comes to churning out talents. One of those making a name for themselves is Augustin Roberto, the Golden Boot winner at the 2023 Under-17 World Cup. The striker has been touted as a great future striker. It was expected that 2025 would be his breakout year, but a torn ACL has set him back somewhat. Liverpool, Man City and Chelsea, meanwhile, will be sure to monitor his return to action upon his recovery. Number 38, Josh Achiembong, Chelsea. Back in 2024, there was a very real fear around Chelsea that they were about to lose Josh Achiembong. The talented right back was refusing to sign a new contract, and with the likes of Madrid, Bayern Munich and Liverpool circling, it felt like the departure of yet another homegrown starlet was inevitable. However, it was announced in December the 18-year-old had agreed a new deal to remain at Stamford Bridge, and he has since begun forcing his way into the Chelsea first team, showcasing his impressive versatility, playing fullback and centre-back at points. I will say, definitely a great talent. Been very impressed with him this season when he's been called upon. Not had too many minutes, but when he's played, he's been fantastic. Yeah, looks like a really good player, and I'm very pleased that we did manage to sign him to a new contract, because I really do think he could have been one that is going to kill away. But I hope that he does actually get some first team minutes and isn't just like a profit player for us. Number 37, Adam Asnu, Bayern Munich. While Barcelona have demonstrated there is a very clear pathway from the academy to the first team, for some players, the urge to try something new remains too great. That is exactly what happened with Adam Asnu, who left Catalonia to join Bayern Munich in 2022, and has since become a great prospect. A left back equally adept at going forward as he is defending, the 18-year-old was seen as a ready-made replacement for Alphonso Davies before he agreed a new contract, and thus Asnu has headed out on loan to earn first-team experience in La Liga with Real Valladolid. Number 36, Charalampos Kostoulos, Olympiakos. Greece is not traditionally regarded as a hotbed of emerging football talents, so when Olympiakos won the prestigious UEFA Youth League in 2024, it came as quite a shock. However, as members of that team begin to step up, it is clear it was no fluke, with striker Charalampos Kostoulos leading the way in that regard. The 17-year-old became the youngest player to score a league goal for Olympiakos, and he has been likened to legendary Argentine forward Gabriel Batistuta. And unsurprisingly, some of Europe's biggest clubs are now taking note. Number 35, Bence Dardai, Wolfsburg. Despite the league's reputation, there isn't a wealth of teenage talents in the Bundesliga this season, though Bence Dardai is proving to be an exception. Wolfsburg beat off competition from top Premier League sides to sign the midfielder from Hertha Berlin in the summer, and he has quickly established himself as a regular contributor. The 19-year-old previously scored the penalty that secured Germany the 2023 Under-17 Euros, though he has since chosen to represent Hungary at international level, and I'm sure very soon will become a Hungary international. Number 34, Mattia Libali, AC Milan. With the likes of Pulisic and Leao ahead of him, it is perhaps no surprise that Mattia Libali hasn't quite forced his way into the Milan lineup yet, but a breakthrough at San Siro won't be far away. The 17-year-old played a key role in Italy winning the Under-17 Euros in 2024, before pulling in some eye-catching displays for the Milan first team during pre-season, including against Real Madrid. Likened to Phil Foden for his playing style, it would be a shock if he doesn't become a star for the Azzurri in the future. Number 33, Konstantinos Karastas, Genk. Konstantinos Karastas over the past 12 months has been heavily linked to Europe's best clubs, having made a seamless transition into Genk's first team this season. Still only 17 years old, another promising Greek talent is already making regular starts in the Jupiler League, having previously become the youngest ever goalscorer in the Belgian second division. An attacking midfielder who grew up idolising Neymar and Ronaldinho, Karastas' creativity is his greatest assets. Number 32, Ellie Junior Gropey, Bournemouth. Bournemouth are starting to earn a little bit of a reputation for spotting talent and developing players into Premier League stars, with Ellie Junior Gropey said to be next. The 18-year-old has earned comparisons to Kylian Mbappe as he burst onto the scene in Ligue 1 last season, and he has continued to prove a menace for opposition defenders. He is currently seeing out the season on loan with his boyhood club Lorient before arriving in England next summer. Number 31, Mark Q, Chelsea. As debuts go, Mark Q's appearance for Barcelona was a remarkable one, as he netted the winning goal against Athletic Club just 23 seconds after coming off the bench. The 19-year-old, however, decided to swap Catalonia for West London last summer, and though he has found Premier League minutes hard to come by, he showcased just why the Blues brought him to England, as he finished as the top scorer in the Conference League phase, netting 6 goals in 6 games. An injury has since stalled his progress, but Q shouldn't be counted out, as Chelsea continue their search for a reliable number 9 in the future. I will say, I have been impressed by Mark Q since he's joined Chelsea. Now I'm not entirely sure just how good he can be, but I am definitely convinced he can become a very solid striker and at the very least a backup striker for us. But I've definitely seen a lot of promising signs from him so far, and he's definitely done really well in the Conference League. I know it's only the Conference League, but for a youngster, it's a pretty decent level and he's done pretty well. Number 30, Gavin Sullivan, Philadelphia Union. Not since the emergence of Christian Pulisic has there been the level of excitement for a talent in the States that is currently surrounding Gavin Sullivan. The hype is certainly justified though, with the Philadelphia Union youngster tipped to surpass even Pulisic, despite him being just 15 years old. The youngest athlete to ever appear in a professional league in the US, after making his debut in July 2024, midfielder Sullivan has also signed the most expensive homegrown contract in MLS history. That deal includes the obligation for him to join Manchester City once he turns 18 in 2027. I will say, I remember hearing about this kid last year. That is nuts, but he's already signed to join Manchester City, and he's only 15 years old. Like, this guy's talent must be ridiculous that they've already decided, because so much can happen from 15 to 18, but the fact they've already decided they're going to sign him shows that this kid must be absolutely unbelievable. And to be 15 and starting, I don't care if it's MLS, but in a professional league at 15 years old, when there's probably most people are like double your age when you're coming up against, that's mental. Right, into the top, well, we're in the top 30 now. 29, Chris Rigg, Sunderland. Sunderland are in the grips of a battle for promotion back to the Prem, but if the Black Cats come up short, homegrown midfielder Chris Rigg will almost certainly be leaving the championship behind this summer as a queue of England's biggest clubs continues to grow. The 17-year-old made headlines in 2023 when he became Sunderland's youngest ever goalscorer, and after a season of sporadic appearances last term, Rigg is now a regular and key player in Sunderland's promotion charge. Number 28. Marc Benay, Barcelona. Barcelona were crying out for a Busquets replacement, and in the early weeks of a 24-25 season, their prayers seemed to be answered by the performances of Marc Benay, who went from little-known La Masia talents to first-team starter almost overnight. Unfortunately for the 17-year-old, he suffered an ACL tear on just his third appearances, culling his first season at senior level short. There is hope, however, that if he recovers well and is managed correctly, he will be the Busquets replacements. I will say, fantastic talent. I remember watching those first Barcelona games. I was like, wow, this kid is unbelievable. It was very, very disappointing that he got an injury so early on, but yeah, I think another just mental talent produced out of La Masia. As you'll see, I think we got a couple more coming from Barcelona on this list. Number 27, Hassan Ouedraogo, RB Leipzig. It takes a brave player to reject the advances of Bayern Munich, but that is exactly what Hassan Ouedraogo did last summer, as the Schalke prospect instead opted to sign for RB Leipzig. After impressing in the second tier, which saw him become Schalke's youngest ever appearance maker and goal scorer. Sadly, a series of injury issues have meant that Ouedraogo's debut campaign in the top flight has never really got going. The midfielder still has plenty of time, however, to show just why he was regarded as one of the top 3 German players for his age group and why Bayern Munich came in for him. Number 26, Luka Vuksovic, Spurs. Tottenham might not be having the best season, but there is real hope for the future, with central defender Luka Vuksovic making his long-awaited arrival in the summer. The likes of Barcelona and Man City were interested in the 18-year-old, and he has spent the past year or so gaining experience out on loan. He is currently plying his trade at Westerlo in the Belgium top flight, where, as well as developing as a defender, he has shown a handy knack for goal scoring, having previously become the youngest player to ever score for Hajduk Split in Croatia. Number 25, Lewis Miley, Newcastle. Very few teenagers are able to step into the Champions League and immediately stick out as one of the most composed players, but that is exactly what Lewis Miley did for Newcastle in 2023, as he burst onto the scene and did not look out of depth. One of the breakout stars of the last season, Miley's minutes have been limited this time around due to injuries, but there is no doubt that the 18-year-old has both the ability and mentality to become a star. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I completely forgot about Lewis Miley. I remember that performance against PSG and really when he broke out, he was unbelievable. But yeah, for whatever reason, injuries and other players, he hasn't really played too much this season. But I hope he does eventually get back into the first team because, yeah, he looks like a really, really good player. 24, Stefanos Tsitsipas, Brighton. Whenever Brighton complete the signing of a young player, there is generally a knowing nod within the scouting community, and that was no different when it was announced in February that the Seagulls had agreed a £20 million deal to sign Greek teenager Stefanos Tsitsipas. a product of a BAOK academy and the club's youngest ever goalscorer. The 19-year-old moved to Germany last summer, but quickly established himself as one of the most lethal strikers in the German second tier, having already reached double figures for goals this season. Physically imposing despite his age, Zimmers looks ready to make the step up to Premier League football next season. I will say, I did not realise Greek football was having such like a renaissance. Looks like they've potentially got a golden generation on their hands here. That's already like the third, fourth Greek player I've mentioned here. The future is definitely looking bright for Greece if some of these guys turn out to be stars. Number 23, Tyler Dibling, Southampton. Southampton almost certainly won't be sticking around the Premier League, but at least one of their players will be remaining in the top flights, with Tyler Dibling set to be the subject of a bidding war this summer. The 19-year-old has oozed confidence since becoming a regular, while his versatility in attacking areas has also likely played a part to the likes of Tottenham and Newcastle considering moves for him in the summer. Again, a fantastic player. Been difficult playing for such a bad team, but he has really shown some great raw abilities, I think. Number 22, Mikey Moore, Tottenham. The youngest player to appear in the Premier League for Spurs, excitement has been growing around Mikey Moore and his potential to become a superstar for a few years now. The 17-year-old's talent has been the subject of hushed conversations, but he has gone more mainstream this year, with his quick feet and passing vision earning him comparisons to Neymar from his teammate James Maddison. Mikey Moore could very well prove to be the creative player Spurs have been crying out for, and a potential star. I'll also say, Spurs, to be fair, low-key, I feel like people don't mention it, but they've really sort of like followed the Chelsea model. Like, the amount of youngsters they have is pretty crazy. Like, that's the third youngster I've mentioned on this list. There's other people as well, right? Like Audible, I think Bergval, who is too old for this list, but yeah, they've just assembling a lot of youngsters. We'll see if these guys come good. If they do, Spurs could be in a great position in the future. Number 21, George Ilingunya, Monaco. Most strikers begin their careers dreaming of scoring a winner goal to beat Barcelona in the Champions League. Barely any, meanwhile, are able to say that they have done that twice before their 19th birthday. But George Ilingunya isn't an ordinary teenager. The first of those goals against Barca was one of 14 he scored for Royal Antwerp last year, and that form tempted Monaco to pay almost £20 million for him in the summer. The 18-year-old opened his account for the club against Barca in September, and though he has struggled for goals in Ligue 1, the forward has impressed with his all-round game and looks like a future star. Okay, into the top 20 now. In 20th spot we have Kendry Byers, Chelsea. Chelsea have shown they're not afraid to spend big to secure some of the world's biggest talents, and one of their most eye-catching investments came in the summer of 2023 when they agreed to pay in excess of $17 million to sign Ecuadorian playmaker Kendry Byers. In the meantime, as he was not able to play for them for another 2 years, Byers has established himself as a key player for his boyhood club, while also performing well for the Ecuador national team, for whom he broke the record as the youngest ever goalscorer in South American World Cup qualifying history. 17-year-old is now making himself at home in West London, ahead of starting his Chelsea career in the coming months. I will say I'm very, very intrigued to see how Kendry Byers does. He was very, very hyped up, and the fact we paid so much for him and waited 2 years for him. I really am intrigued to see what happens, and I'm intrigued to see if he actually does get a chance in the first team. He is one of those few Chelsea players who I'm actually kind of excited for. Number 19, Franco Mastorante, River Plate. While Argentine football is bracing itself to bid farewell to one golden generation, fans can be reassured by the fact there are a number of emerging talents ready to step into the shoes, while with River Plate midfielder Franco Mastorante among them. The 17-year-old, who has been noted for his dead ball and one-on-one abilities, became River's youngest ever goalscorer at the start of 2024, and a summer transfer to Europe now almost looks certain. Shout out to River Plate as well. I mean, how many names are they going to produce on this list? That is crazy. Number 18, Julian Duranville, Borussia Dortmund. Having been singled out as a potential Ballon d'Or contender by his former coach Vincent Kompany, there is a lot of pressure on Duranville to become the face of a new Belgian golden generation. The winger certainly has the tools to reach such level, and Borussia Dortmund beat off plenty of competition to sign him in January 2023. However, the 18-year-old's first 2 years have largely been ruined by injury problems. When he has been fit, however, he has shown why there is so much excitement around him, while he has also already earned a couple of senior Belgium caps. Number 17, Lucas Bergvall, Spurs. My bad. I thought it was too off the list. Anyways, it's not often that Spurs are able to beat Barca to the signing of a player, but that is exactly what happened with Lucas Bergvall. The 19-year-old is now becoming an established member of his country's senior squad, and has grown into an important player for Ange's team over the course of his debut campaign in England. His eye for a pass and ability in tight spaces suggest he could grow into one of the very best midfielders in Europe if handled properly. I will say, I've definitely been impressed by Bergvall this season. Played plenty of minutes, and I think he's been pretty promising. Still a little bit raw, but I think he's already at a level where he doesn't necessarily look out of place in that Spurs team. I've been pretty impressed by him. Number 16, Vitor Reyes, Manchester City. The conveyor belt of top-tier attacking talents to come out of Brazil has been well documented in recent years, but the emergence of Vitor Reyes suggests they are also capable of developing elite defenders, with Man City believing that to be the case after they forked out $30 million to bring the 19-year-old in January. A classy centre-back who has shown himself to be immensely comfortable on the ball, Reyes has also showcased his leadership by captaining Brazil at youth level, and there is belief at City that he will grow into the centrepiece of their new look backline over the coming years. Number 15, Rodrigo Moura, Porto. Few countries develop attacking midfielders at a better rate than Portugal, and in Rodrigo Moura, they look to have yet another superb talent on their hands. The 17-year-old showcased his goal-getting capabilities at youth level, finishing as top scorer in the 23-24 UEFA Youth League and the Under-17 Euros. Since breaking into the Porto first team, he has been terrific, having previously been the youngest debutant in Portuguese league history, playing at the age of just 15. Number 14, Sver Niepen, Just over 10 years ago, then teenage Norwegian Martin Odegaard embarked on a tour of Europe's elite clubs as they battled to sign one of the best midfield talents on the planet. Now, a decade later, Sven Narbom has followed in his footsteps, and there is a belief he can match Odegaard's impact. The 18-year-old managed 15 combined goals and assists from central midfield for Rosenborg last year, and Narbom has since held talks with Arsenal and Manchester City. Number 13. Archie Gray, Tottenham. The fourth member of his family to play in the English top flight, Archie Gray is following in the family business and making it look easy. After being named Championship Young Player of the Year last season, having been an ever-present in his debut campaign, the 19-year-old has made the transition to the Premier League with Spurs. Gray's versatility is mightily impressive, with the midfielder having been forced to fill in at right back and centre back while barely missing a beat. Just imagine how good he will be when he finally gets to play his favoured role on a regular basis. Yet another Spurs player on here, pretty crazy. But yeah, Archie Gray's been pretty good. Number 12. Ayub Buwadi, Lille. Not since Eden Hazard emerged out of the Lille academy has there been the level of excitement that follows Ayub Buwadi, with the midfielder having slotted seamlessly into the first team after breaking countless records when he first debuted at the age of just 16. Now 17, Buwadi earned rave reviews for his performances against Real Madrid and Juventus in this year's Champions League, with Liverpool, Arsenal and Chelsea all now said to be interested. Number 11. Giovanni Guenda, Sporting. It speaks volumes that all of these Sporting players that Amorim could have wanted to sign for Manchester United, the one being linked the most was Giovanni Guenda, who only made his debut in August. The 17-year-old, who is comfortable playing either flank, quickly established himself in Lisbon after becoming Sporting's youngest ever goalscorer and earned a call-up to the senior Portugal squad. Unfortunately for Amorim, Chelsea have now swooped in ahead of United and agreed a £40 million deal to bring Guenda to Stamford Bridge this summer. Actually, wait, it says in the summer of 2026. Please don't tell me we sign him for next summer. I swear if we sign another of these kids who can't even play now, that is going to be so annoying. But I saw we signed him. To be honest, I couldn't care less because we've signed so many youngsters. I'm fed up at this point, but I will say he is a very, very promising talent from what I've heard. Okay, into the top 10 now. Number 10, Francesco Camada, AC Milan. For most strikers, scoring a goal every other game is seen as a fantastic strike rate. Imagine then having a striker averaging almost 5.5 per game. That is the pace Francesco Camada was maintaining throughout the AC Milan academy ranks, despite playing regularly above his age group. Camada's form at youth level eventually led to him breaking his first senior record when he became Serie A's youngest ever player, making his debut at just 15. And while the goals are yet to start flowing for the 16-year-old at the senior level, it is seen as a matter of when, not if, he will return on the potential he has shown. Number 9. Euro Hato, Ajax. He may have only just turned 19, but Hato has packed a lot into his short professional career so far. A veteran of over 100 appearances for Ajax, Hato has already captained Ajax in European football and begun establishing himself as a starter for the Dutch national team. Only Clarence Seedorf and Ryan Gravenberch made league debuts for Ajax at a younger age, and Hato has grown into one of the best defenders in the Eredivisie, while also showcasing his versatility by playing all across the back line before settling in at left back. That combination of attributes means Hato is not short of suitors, with Arsenal and Liverpool set to be at the front of the queue as the summer approaches. I'll say I'm very, very impressed by Hato. I've seen him a couple times now for the Dutch national team and mightily, mightily impressive in my opinion. Looks like a really, really good player. Number 8, Miles Lewis-Skelly, Arsenal. It takes a brave man to mock Erling Haaland, but when Lewis-Skelly marked his first senior goal against Man City by mimicking Haaland's celebration, it only highlighted the confidence the 18-year-old has showcased since stepping into the Arsenal first team. Though naturally a central midfielder, Lewis-Skelly has thrived as a left-back in Arsenal, leading to calls for him to earn a call-up from New England boss Thomas Tuchel. That call arrived, and well, Lewis-Skelly scored on his England international debut, showing maybe a sign of things to come for a future regular in the Arsenal and England setup. Again, very, very impressed by Lewis-Skelly so far this season, the way he's just seamlessly slotted in. Very mature player, I would say, for his age as well. Number 7, Claudio Echeverri, Manchester City. Man City are no strangers to plugging talented youngsters away from River Plate, and there is a belief that they will be able to have similar success with Claudio Echeverri after the teenager finally arrived to England in February. City beat the likes of Barca and PSG for his signature, before allowing the 19-year-old to see out the remainder of 2024 with his boyhood club. He is now ready to be unleashed on the Premier League, and looks set to form part of a new-look, vibrant City attack in the coming years. Number 6, Ethan Nwaneri, Arsenal. Not every player who has broken the record for Premier League's youngest ever player has gone on to become a household name, but Ethan Nwaneri surely will. The first and only 15-year-old to appear in the Prem, the Arsenal youngster was slowly eased into the first team before truly exploding over the past 6 months. Nwaneri has filled in capably for Bukayo Saka on the right-hand side of Arsenal's forward line, with his two-footedness making him a nightmare for opponents. While Saka's return might lead to him seeing less minutes, Nwaneri has shown he has everything required to become a superstar of the future. Number 5, our top 5 now. We have Endrick, Real Madrid. Brazilian football fans are always on the lookout for the next Neymar or the next R9, but only truly special talents are able to be given the title of the next Pele. That is the honour that was bestowed on Endrick as he began to make waves in the Palmeiras first team, and Real Madrid fans are now starting to see a glimpse of just why he is so highly rated. Madrid paid an eye-watering €60 million to sign Endrick back in 2023, as he won a race that pretty much involved every European club, but they had to wait 18 months before he would arrive. In the meantime, Endrick fired Palmeiras to the Brazilian title before announcing himself on the international stage, scoring versus England and Spain. The 18-year-old finally got to put on the famous white shirt in August and wasted little time in getting going, scoring in both his La Liga and Champions League debut. However, with Mbappe, Vinicius and Rodrigo ahead of him, learning to be patient has been Endrick's most valuable lesson. And though he has continued to chip in when he has been given opportunities by Ancelotti, he still hasn't played too much, but he will continue to grow as a player, earning more and more game time, and showcasing his great ability. Yeah, I'll say, Endrick for me has had a fantastic first season when you consider his age, when you consider the team he's playing for. He's been used as sort of like a bit pot role, but every time he plays, I think he looks pretty solid. He's had some decent moments here. Of course, not all the time has looked amazing, but for someone his age, I think this has been a great first season for him, to be honest. I know for the price tag, a lot of people maybe expected more, but I think he's been great. To be honest, I think it should probably be a little bit higher in this list. Number 4, we have Warren Emery, PSG. While Champions League failures and superstars define the PSG old era, one of the less talked about narratives focused on the club's academy and how so few players were going on to become stars. Attitudes are, however, beginning to change, with Warren Emery the poster boy for a new generation. Despite only just turning 19, Emery has already made over 100 appearances for the PSG first team since becoming the club's youngest ever player. From there, he has set new benchmarks, including becoming PSG's youngest ever goalscorer and the youngest player to ever start a Champions League knockout match for any club. He also marked his senior France debut with a goal after a run of performances in the Champions League that announced him as one of Europe's top young midfielders. Emery would certainly have no issues in becoming an important player for any team in world football. Yeah, honestly, one of my favourite players to watch. Last year when I saw him in the Champions League, I was just shocked. Like, the way he plays, just so calm, so composed, it's unbelievable. Okay, into the top 3, and in number 3 we have Pau Kabasi, Barcelona. It's not often that the absence of a 17-year-old with just 6 months of first-team experience from a national team for a summer tournament causes major headlines, but Kabasi is no ordinary teenager. The Barca centre-back was surprisingly left out of Spain's Euro 2024 team, but it figures to be the last time that Kabasi misses out on a major international tournament for quite some time. A product of La Masia, Kabasi made waves last season when he stepped into the back line and locked down some of Europe's most feared attackers, most notably Victor Osimhen and Kylian Mbappe, in back-to-back Champions League ties. The now 18-year-old has subsequently kicked on under Hansi Flick and has been almost an ever-present this season. With his excellent defensive instincts combined with a range of passing that would make most central midfielders jealous. Ex-Barca captain Carlos Puyol has compared him to Gerard Piqué, and the early signs are that the youngster can go on to have an even better career at Catalonia. Unbelievable centre-back. Unbelievable centre-back. You know, I don't... In this entire list, really, there's not really been too many centre-backs listed because I find centre-back is one of those positions where it's quite hard to be a really good centre-back very young. It's more one of those positions where, you know, as you grow, as you get bigger, as you get more physical, as you get wiser, you become a better centre-back. So for someone his age to be already one of the best centre-backs in the world is just crazy. It's crazy. Alright, number 2, we have Estevão William Palmeiras. For Brazilians to embrace a player who is nicknamed Messi-inho, they must show themselves to be exceptional. That is certainly one adjective that describes Estevão William, who has illustrated that comparisons to the greatest player to ever kick a football aren't too wide off the mark. Barely a week goes by without Estevão producing a moment of magic, as the youngster gained quite the reputation for spectacular strikes, on his way to scoring 13 goals last season for Palmeiras, a tally that was only bettered by 2 players in his first ever Brazilian season. He isn't merely a goal scorer either. The 17-year-old recently became the first player to record 30 combined goals and assists before their 18th birthday in Brazil since Neymar. After a ferocious battle between some of Europe's biggest clubs, Chelsea agreed to pay an initial $29 million to sign Estevão, and the forward will arrive at Stamford Bridge ahead of next season as part of the next wave of talented youngsters at the Blues. Already a full Brazilian international, Estevão is being tipped to eventually take up Neymar's mantle as the centrepiece of the attack, and there is no question he has the ability to one day even surpass the ex-Barcelona superstar. Damn, I'm not gonna lie, again, because of one of those things, we signed so many youngsters, I don't really batter an eyelid anymore when we sign them. I did not realise Estevão was sort of this hyped up. Him at number 2 is pretty crazy. I would easily have like Kabasi and that ahead of him. Sorry, Emery Endrick, but surely he must be an absolutely unbelievable talent if he's in at number 2. So yeah, I mean, kind of got me hyped up now to see him at Chelsea next season. Alright, anyways, number 1, the best Wonderkid in the world is, really by no surprise, Lamine Yamal, Barcelona. I mean, what more is there to say about Yamal? Perhaps the greatest teenage footballer the world has ever seen. He is already a household name around the globe after his heroics for both Barcelona and Spain. Ever since making his Barca debut at just 15, Yamal has proven to be undroppable, and it has become clear that he is arguably the most important player for Barcelona, despite still being a schoolboy. Those who watch La Liga regularly already will tell you he is arguably the best player in the division, in a league that boasts Mbappe, Vinicius, Bellingham, Griezmann and many more world-class footballers. Yamal's impact on the international game has perhaps been even greater, with the youngster toying with opposition defenders at Euro 2024 and providing the most assists in Germany, and one of the most memorable moments in the summer with his long-range strike against France in the semi-finals, as the kid who brought his homework with him and celebrated his 17th birthday before the final was named Young Player of the Tournament. Ballon d'Or talks have already begun, with Yamal odds on to become the first player to win the awards before his 21st birthday. Certainly the way in which he has shredded opponents for Barca has put him in the Golden Ball conversation, and perhaps challenging Messi's record of 8 Ballon d'Ors will be his future. For now though, Yamal will have to make do with another piece of history, as he becomes the first player to be named the winner of Next Gen on 2 separate occasions. Your Next Gen 2024 and your Next Gen 2025 number 1, Lamine Yamal. So there we go, that is the full Next Gen 50 best Wonderkids in world football list. Let me know your thoughts on some of those Wonderkids, who should have been included, who is lower than they thought, higher than you thought. Don't attack me for it, attack Goal. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. If you guys have enjoyed it, please do leave a like, consider subscribing. I'll see you in another video.